Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's 12 o'clock here in Oklahoma City. So let's get our webinar kicked off. We'll let people have a couple minutes to get in while I share my screen and all that good stuff. Right. So today we're going to build on what we talked about last month, Copilot 101. So last month we talked about the actual Copilot app, what all the buttons mean, all the different areas of the app, how you can use it. It's also included in your applications, your Office 365 applications. So today we're going to go through different ways to use it. I'm going to have a few examples. I tried to put a little bit of a narrative together, needing notes, putting them in to Word, and then taking that executive summary and creating a PowerPoint. So it's a pretty practical way to start using Excel Pilot in your off-the-shelf Microsoft 365 apps. To get this to work, you do need a Copilot license. We at amshot are asking our clients to always have Business Premium plus Copilot. One housekeeping from Microsoft, prices are going up starting next month. And also the ability to just Copilot willy-nilly is going away. So there is going to be consumption. There's going to be tokens. You're going to want to start setting a budget in your Copilot instance in the back end. So they call that Copilot co-work. And it's a big transition for Microsoft. Depending on your level of keeping track of the pulses, all of the different LM models are doing the same thing. So people are talking a lot about Claude token consumption, how to keep that down, GPT, and it's the same with Copilot. So that is going to be one of the big jobs of IT providers to the future, managing token budget, making sure that our clients are using the right work. You will hear the term frontier is Microsoft's terms that they're using for the leading edge or the leading edge work. So when you hear me say frontier, that's really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the newest, latest, and greatest stuff. Thank you, Janelle. If anybody has any questions, toss them into the chat. We definitely hear from as many people as possible. So let us know if you've got any questions. My name is Michael Thomas. I'm the CEO and founder of amshot. We're a managed IT company in Oklahoma City. Of our clients are in the Oklahoma City market. Several have offices throughout the country. We like a lot too. So you'll see more and more in that market as we go on. Let's dive in. So I wanted to start with Outlook, and an app has been around for a long time. People have been using Outlook for a long time. It's adding Copilot to Outlook is really a superpower. It really an amazing to help you find things that you may have missed. So what I'm going to do is here's a thread that I've got with a vendor. The vendor's name is Pia. They're an automations company. So you see the Copilot is that Copilot logo at the top right. I just asked Copilot to summarize this thread. Here is a summary of 6 emails back and forth. Now, I am going to have it draft a response. This is a little bit of a negotiation, me talking to a vendor. And so I asked it to draft a response that pushes back on their pricing, tries to negotiate flexibility. So you can see how quickly I was able to do something that might have had me pondering a lot or thinking about what to do here, what should I do next, copy the text in, and then I can send that on to James. Copilot for me, one of the reasons I like to use it often is that it does get me unstuck. I do think a lot about problems. I might analyze them. And if I've got a thought partner that is helping me solve a problem, I can get that done, get that a little bit faster. I'm going to spend a little bit of time in Teams. So Teams is of communication tool. Outlook is the classic back and forth. Teams is where a lot of companies are living. Lots of communication, lots of opportunity to miss an important detail. So Copilot can really help you clean that up and get the details that you need, the action items from a meeting, from a chat, from a channel, all of these different opportunities. So this is another bait. Here's just a summary of a call that we had. And so I'm going to ask Copilot to help me with that. So as you can see, it doesn't hesitate. Immediately jumps in details that we need. Now I just want some action items. I really want to get to the what things maybe didn't land as a responsibility. So clear, what do I do? What is Drew going to do? And what do we need to find? What do we need to catch? Who's this? Maybe the things that we didn't land. So for me, that capability of summarizing a meeting and taking action items, it was such a laborious thing that you knew you needed to do in a meeting. and you knew you needed to have someone assigned to the task. But so many meetings are run poorly where you don't end with action item, you don't end with depths. The note taker puts the notes somewhere you can't find them. It's really an incredible way to summarize meeting. So when you're in a meeting, be sure and turn on transcription so that you can get access to these features. Another thing that happens is you've got lots of chats, right? There's in a Teams environment, there's lots of different chats between multiple people where things are being discussed. And maybe you're in meetings for 4 hours or you're off for a day or two. How can you get caught up? One way to do it is to go into the chat, hit the Copilot button, and ask about that one specific chat. And so I'm just curious about what's gone on in the past week. This chat specifically is it's like just our room for the operations team, just a place where we chat, maybe ask questions. It's not a real formal area, but it's a great way to summarize and communicate, but just to get caught up on what did I miss, so you don't have to read through all of the chat. Very powerful tool. And the next one is a little bit just broader scope. And I know Drew uses this at our office occasionally. And so he turned me on to this idea of just talking to teams and just asking in general, like, help me caught up. And it will help look through any action items you might have dropped, any requests you got from team members, any loose ends that might be out there. Very useful. Teams is a great place to start using Copilot. It not only in chats, you can pin it to the top of your chats so you can just talk to Copilot. There is a full Copilot app. So if you click on this logo here, you can just access regular Copilot in Teams. Teams is a very Copilot forward place to access the tool and communicate. Usually, one thing we're not going to talk about today is talking about custom agents inside of Teams. We'll do in a class where we're doing a little bit more advanced training, but you have Copilot agents living and responding inside Teams and scheduled responses. So they're doing things at certain times. Prefixed. Okay, so we had that meeting that I talked about with Pia. We saw that there was an email back and forth with them. Then I had a meeting. And so what I've done here is I'm taking those meeting notes, I've pasted them into this Word doc, and then I'm going to use Copilot to help get more information out of the note and make them more consumable, turn them into an executive summary. So watch the prompts that go through here. I would like to run this PIA platform as a Q3 priority. And so what does that mean for us? How is that going to function? How could I take those meeting notes and prepare them for the rest of our leadership team to see? And you can see it's just worked right through doing exactly what I asked, making the change. And I do 2x these videos, so they're a little faster than a mere more, but that's the idea, is to you guys to see it so then I just say, hey, please proceed with a 1-page leadership brief. And so it's going to take that summary and make it even shorter. This was not really into the thread. We'll catch back up that PIA summary in a few minutes. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go into an Excel spreadsheet. This is a fairly simple spreadsheet. This is one that we use to track weekly metrics. So all the different service delivery areas, report metrics every week. And I'm going to do a little data analysis, maybe a little cleanup on this spreadsheet. So I'm going to have Copilot help me with that. So you can see it asks me 3 questions. I'm just simply answering them. So 1, yes, 2, no, 3, yes. So now it knows exactly what it wants me to do, or what I want it to do. And what it's going to actually do is it's going to build me another worksheet in the workbook of the different errors, different things need to be cleaned up, some metrics that I might need to double check. So you can see it can build spreadsheet data. It can do so much. And it's a neat opportunity to have a thought partner that can work with you with data and help you answer questions, maybe create pivot tables for you, do analysis, all sorts of things that you would have done yourself. But it's nice to have a thought partner. It's nice to have and you can bounce ideas off of, make requests. Definitely create spreadsheets are a pretty area to use Copilot. One of the better to use it. But before you get really into using it, change up your spreadsheet, make a copy of it use that copy to be the one that you are experimenting with at first. Watch that production data. I know almost every business that I've ever been a part of or helped with or support, they've got a spreadsheet somewhere that's really important. So don't let that spreadsheet right off the bat. Make a backup, make a copy. PowerPoint is, so what we're going to do is we're going to take those notes from that PME and we're going to use that executive summary to create a slide deck. This is a part of Copilot. It's a little more, so design is hard for artificial intelligence to understand and to get out what's mind, get it onto a design is tougher and it takes longer. So when you're building a PowerPoint like this, you're consuming more tokens than you. It is for a long time. And so I've edited this down substantially to get this to work. But you can see I clicked that plus button. I drafted a prompt. I clicked the plus button to attach the document to this post. And it's going to review the document. It's going to plan the presentation. It's going to ask us some questions, right? So what do you want this to do? How do you want this to work? How many slides? What's important? So I could pick multiple of the. I want to talk about the rollout. I want to talk about what success looks like. And it's going to churn through. And it's going to, well, we've got one question. John, if you want to just type the question in. John, if you want, you can talk. Made talking.
Sorry about that. I was trying to talk. I just want to clarify. You put out the token, and it's crystallized in my head now. These guys are going to start charging us for the use of these tools and the time and the request of the information. So this is going to start costing us money now.
Yes. So you get like a certain of tokens with the license, but if you go beyond that, you need to set up a payment plan, budget. How much do you want to spend? You can set budget up per person. So different people can have, and some can. And this really what Microsoft has been working is how do companies like amshot provide sort of data? Who's using the agent? Who's using well? Who's using an expensive model? Like you can see here in this PowerPoint, I'm using Claude Opus 4. That's one of the most expensive ones that you can use. I can pick a different one. I can pick a cheaper one. I can have it automatically select itself. But as you start looking at this consumption and setting, that's really, we're going to not only understand, who's, but who's using it smart. If you think about, for something, people getting excited, right? People get excited about the newest Claude or the newest, a certain subset of people do, and they want to only use that expensive model all the time. Well, not every problem requires a frontier solution. Not everything that you do needs to build the. So as we're coming up with solutions with businesses, like deploying an HR agent at a business, that HR agent has limited scope. It knows the documents it's reading from. It doesn't need a lot of memory. We can assign it a very low model. And so when people are asking HR questions, they're using a cheap model. Whereas right now, if I asked, in Copilot and used Claude 4.8 to ask a question about HR policies, that it would think and analyze and ponder. And I don't need that. This is a big part of how it's going to be. We actually, Drew sent me a meme earlier today, and I'll throw it into this. I'll share it a little bit. But basically, talk about, like you spend on your LM API this month, $150,000. How much was that junior data scientist that you had in? He was $4,500, and some maybe is cheaper than the. So you've got to be able to understand these expenses and how these are going to work. And this does start July 1st for Cope. And so this is happening like right now, just starting that budget process, switching to this consumption. That help? I'll go with that as a yes. This takes a long time. I cut and pay, and in the end, it's going to build so what would have taken hours, I've done in minutes. And add some speaker notes. I say to put those in. It's going to knock those out pretty quick. Your races. It's really one of the major advantages that Copilot has, trying to bolt on Claude into your 365. So, we're Microsoft at amshot, new partnership level with them called the Frontier Partner level, and how we can develop that relationship with them is very important. Understanding it is quite challenging because a lot is changing. Microsoft, over the 15 years that amshot's been in business, a lot changes with Microsoft even faster now in this AI space. So I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. Questions, thoughts, ideas. Anybody's got it? Raise your hand if you'd like to talk. I can turn on your mic. Everybody's shy. All right. So next month is our iteration of the web. What we're going to talk about is staying in the Copilot vein, really practical ways to use it, but we're going to do a little bit more advanced things that you can do as a Copilot license. But how do you schedule a task that happens, weekly, or do you have a task or an agent bond a prompt somewhere else, something that is fed into it instead of. So we're going to work a little bit on automations and scheduled tasks on July 20. Just check our social media for the registration. I put it into chat as well, right? Okay, we do have a question. Let's see, yeah. So for Ian, the code in PowerPoint, that is what Microsoft wants you to do. So they want you to open up PowerPoint and then start prompting inside PowerPoint for PowerPoints. That's their best pattern right now. If you have a Copilot chat to create a PowerPoint, you just are going to be like the design feedback loops that built into PowerPoint. So it's a little bit better. And then we've Shady. With this new model, will the abilities of Copilot come up to the same levels of ChatGPT? This is a great question. So Copilot kind of had a bad rap. It was not very great. Definitely not until 2025 to late 2025. And they had their own models. They were older models. Most of them were ChatGPT, but they were not very good. So much so that we not use Copilot anymore. We were using the ChatGPT stuff. And what Microsoft is, and it's really smart, is you have the ability different LLMs inside Copilot. So like I picked in that PowerPoint, you can do that in regular chats too. So you can pick a Claude 4.8, you can pick the different ChatGPT. All of those are available to you. And in the business space, really not to have them all in one place versus switching from Claude to Copilot to Grok is available in the back end of Copilot now. It's a great way to do those things. And right, some tasks are going to be with ChatGPT, some tasks are going to be better with. And as you're building agents in the Copilot universe, you can just pick and choose which model you want. So I do use all three, technologist and something that I'm trying to keep track of all the different platforms. So I do use Claude and Claude. I have a ChatGPT and a Copilot as. Personally, I use the ChatGPT. It's kind of like my new. So if I just need to search something quick or have like a quick question about something, go to ChatGPT. If I'm doing something intense, definitely coding, anything, I'm using Claude. And then related things, anything that has to do with the office or business process, business technology. But it's great to see, that Claude has come a much in the last 5, really eclipsing, and how Copilot able to integrate all of them has been really. So, is that your question? I hope so. All right. You're welcome. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining. I really appreciate it. We really are trying to everybody out by sharing this content, trying to bring everybody along on this journey of AI in business, how to use it and want to use it, right? This is a new general technology. But one thing we do like to talk about at amshot is, of course, figure out, use AI and automations in smart, responsible, but then figure out what it is that we do as professionals, as human beings, is the warm and fuzzy thing we're doing. What magical moment is what how can we find that we're having with and make those happen more often, be more intentional about those. I don't want a scary race to the common denominator situation. It really should be looked at as something that can help you do what you do best in a way that recharges you and lets you do things you enjoy. That being said, I'll see you guys next. Have a good 4th of July.